It was a sunny afternoon in the city. The outdoor food court, located in the heart of a bustling culinary hub, was packed with people coming and going, sampling flavors from different cuisines. In the midst of the crowd, André Silva, an FBI agent, blended in discreetly, dressed in blue jeans and a red shirt. He was there on a critical mission, tracking a dangerous drug dealer named Ramon. André was fully focused on his task until two police officers approached. Without any introduction, they surrounded him. "You're under arrest," ordered the older officer without hesitation. "Wait, this is a mistake," André protested, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "I'm with the FBI, my ID is in my pocket." The officers ignored his words, relying on their own assumptions based solely on his appearance. The real suspect they were looking for was involved in a minor incident, but the description given to them was vague and inaccurate. "We think you're the guy who was harassing a woman here." "You fit the description," said one officer as he handcuffed André. André's frustration grew. He knew this approach was jeopardizing his investigation, and in his mind, he could see his team's operation falling apart. Meanwhile, his FBI colleagues, who had been monitoring the situation through earpieces, quickly realized what was happening. "Guys, two racist cops have confused me with their suspect just because I'm black," André said, trying to convey the urgency of the situation. The FBI team, hearing this, didn't hesitate. They rushed out of the van parked nearby, with field agent Nora Swift leading the charge. When they arrived, they found a tense scene. The local police, armed and nervous, were pointing their guns at the FBI agents. "Hey, we're with the FBI," shouted Robert, the senior agent. "We're here to help." "You're making a mistake. Check our badges." Jake, one of the local officers, was hesitant. "Throw your badge over here, real slow," he ordered, keeping his gun trained on Robert. Robert complied, while Nora, already enraged, snapped, "You guys are racist. Just look at our badges." The tension was palpable, and a crowd was beginning to gather around, watching the scene unfold. Officer Jake looked at the badges, the hesitation in his eyes starting to fade. When he realized there had indeed been a mistake, his expression changed. "You're with the FBI?" he asked, still suspicious, but beginning to lower his weapon. Robert, noticing the shift, confirmed, "That's right. And because of today, your department will face consequences. Due to your rash actions, a highly dangerous criminal got away." Nora's eyes were filled with anger, but also relief that the situation was de-escalating. The thought of one of the region's most dangerous drug dealers escaping due to prejudice was unacceptable. After the tense confrontation at the food court, André and his team were quickly taken back to FBI headquarters. Once there, André felt a mix of relief and indignation. He needed the truth to come out, and those officers to face consequences for their racist behavior. Robert, the senior agent, approached the FBI director. "We need to discuss what happened," he said gravely. "We can't let this go. The local department needs to be held accountable." The director nodded, his expression serious. "I agree, Robert. The integrity of our work and our agency is at stake. These officers can't just act with impunity." Meanwhile, the FBI's tech team began analyzing the video that had gone viral. The footage clearly showed the aggressive and racist approach of the police officers. With each viewing, public outrage grew, and the local police department found itself exposed to ridicule. As André watched the video with his colleagues, a lump formed in his throat. It wasn't just his career at risk, it was the public perception of every agent who, like him, worked hard to do the right thing. "We need to act fast," André asserted. "This situation isn't just about me. It's about every agent on the front lines, fighting crime while facing prejudice. The community needs to see that we won't tolerate this." Realizing the gravity of the situation, the FBI director called an urgent meeting with the head of the local police department. In the meeting room, the atmosphere was tense. The police chief, visibly nervous, sat across from the FBI agents. André watched, feeling the tension rise. "What happened at the food court was unacceptable," began the FBI director. "Two of your officers confronted a federal agent without proper justification. The video has gone viral and made your team a public embarrassment." The police chief, trying to maintain his composure, responded, "I understand the gravity of the situation, but we have procedures to follow." "Procedures?" André interrupted, his voice filled with frustration. "This isn't just about procedures. It's about accountability. These men must be punished. What does your department do to address racist behavior?" The chief hesitated, his expression betraying the pressure he was under. "We have disciplinary policies, but," he began, but André cut him off. "That's not enough. In the United States, actions like these can lead to termination or even lawsuits. They not only tarnish the reputation of the police, but also put the life of a federal agent and an entire operation at risk. We need exemplary punishments." The FBI director, sensing André's determination, agreed. "We will work together to ensure the consequences are just and proportional." As the internal investigation unfolded, the life of Officer Jake, one of those responsible for the wrongful arrest, began to unravel. He wasn't just facing the repercussions of his actions, but also a personal tragedy. His 10-year-old son, Lucas, had been kidnapped while walking home from school. The news spread quickly throughout the city, adding even more pressure to the police department. Jake, consumed by guilt and fear, begged his colleagues, including the police chief, for help. "I don't know what to do," Jake cried, his eyes filled with desperation. "He's all I have." The police chief, realizing the seriousness of the situation, had no choice but to mobilize all available resources. The search for the boy became the top priority, even amidst the chaos of the investigation into André's wrongful detainment. Meanwhile, André and his team continued their mission. The investigation into Ramon couldn't wait, and they were getting closer to dismantling his operation. But a connection between the kidnapping and the search for Ramon began to emerge. "We need to move," said Nora, the field agent. "Time's running out, and we know Ramon has ties to the criminal underworld. If Lucas is in danger, he may have information about the kidnapping." As the FBI's investigation progressed, a dark cloud began to loom over the case. André and his team discovered that Jake wasn't just a cop who made a mistake. He was a corrupt officer deeply involved with the drug trade. His actions during André's arrest weren't a coincidence, but part of a carefully orchestrated scheme. Recorded audio revealed Jake in conversations with Ramon, exposing a side of him André never imagined. The voices captured in the recordings were a chilling echo of betrayal, Jake discussing patrol schedules and warning the drug lord about the FBI's presence. "I'll cover for you. Don't worry," Jake said in one recording. "If I see anything suspicious, I'll delay the capture. You can trust me." The revelation shocked André. He knew this corruption endangered not only the operation, but also the lives of his partner, Nora, and the other agents. The FBI director, fully aware of the gravity of the situation, decided to confront the police chief. He brought the recordings as evidence, determined to ensure Jake faced the consequences of his actions. "We need to act, but we can't do anything until Jake's son is found," the director said firmly. "His son is innocent, but we must move quickly." The police chief, though reluctant, knew Jake's actions were unacceptable. However, he also felt the pressure to ensure the boy's safety. "Then we need to run a dual operation. Find Lucas and make sure Jake doesn't escape or get any kind of warning. If he's involved in this, we have to make sure his family is protected," the chief suggested. The idea of coordinating both sides in a simultaneous operation seemed like the only viable solution. Yet, everyone knew it was a risky gamble. Meanwhile, Jake, desperate for his son's safety, found himself in an impossible position. He was trapped between Ramon's demands and the need to protect Lucas. The drug lord was furious, believing Jake had betrayed him. "Are you hiding something from me, Jake?" Ramon shouted, his voice echoing in his hideout. "I need intel on the FBI, and you told me you had everything under control." "I can't help with that," Jake responded, his voice shaking. "If you find out anything that links me, I could lose everything, even my son." But Ramon's anger was palpable. He had one goal, to pressure Jake into giving him what he wanted. The kidnapping of Lucas was a way to ensure Jake's cooperation, but it also made him vulnerable. Jake knew that if he wasn't careful, he could lose not only his son, but his own life as well. The FBI team, fully aware of the deteriorating situation, began formulating a plan to rescue Lucas. André, determined to save the boy, gathered every possible resource and devised a strategy. "We need to act quickly and with precision," he told Nora, his partner. Jake's backed into a corner. "If we don't act soon, we could lose both Lucas and the chance to take down Ramon's operation." Nora nodded, her eyes burning with determination. "We'll use the recordings. If Ramon feels threatened, he might do something desperate. We need to be ready for anything." With the support of the FBI director, the operation was set in motion. The agents would infiltrate Ramon's network using the intelligence they had gathered and what they knew about the drug lord's routines. Meanwhile, Jake found himself increasingly trapped. He had to decide who he could truly trust and which path to take. The weight of his past actions was about to come crashing down, and the consequences threatened not only his life, but also his son's. The FBI conference room was thick with tension. Jake, now surrounded by members of the team, felt the weight of every gaze fixed on him. The FBI director, standing at the front of the table, exuded authority. "Jake, you're not just in trouble. Your situation is tragic," the director began, his voice resonating through the room. "Your son is in danger because of your greed. We know everything, your ties to Ramon, the payments you received." Jake swallowed hard, the reality of his choices hitting him full force. "You have a chance at redemption," the director continued, his expression softening slightly. "If you work with us and help us take down Ramon, we can forget about your past. This might be the key to getting your son back." The department members exchanged glances, assessing the sincerity in the director's words. Nora was among them, and Jake noticed the determination in her eyes. He knew he had to make a choice. I want to help," Jake said, his voice trembling. "But how can I trust that you'll really save my son?" "We'll use all our resources," the director assured him. "What we need now is your cooperation. We need information about Ramon's routines, his connections. If you work with us, you'll have a chance not only to redeem yourself, but to secure your son's safety." Hearing these words, a small glimmer of hope began to flicker in Jake, though it was accompanied by a wave of guilt. He thought of Lucas, his son's smile, and how his choices had put him in danger. "What do you need me to do?" Jake asked, his voice now resolute. With the pact made, the FBI team prepared for the next step. Jake, now a reluctant informant, began sharing everything he knew about Ramon. He detailed the drug lord's routines, meeting places, and even the names of some of his accomplices. Nora, listening intently, took notes and asked pointed questions. "Where does Ramon usually hide out? Is there any place he feels safe?" She pressed, her voice firm. "He has a warehouse down by the docks," Jake replied. "That's where he stores his shipments. But it's also where he meets with his allies." André, observing the exchange, realized they had a real chance to dismantle Ramon's operation, but there was still a lot at stake. He knew that despite the new alliance, Jake remained a volatile piece in the puzzle. With the gathered intel, the team began planning the infiltration of the warehouse. They needed to act quickly before Ramon discovered that Jake was cooperating with the FBI. "We're going to need a detailed plan," André said, looking over the map of the location. "Nora, you and I will lead the team. Jake, you'll stay in contact with us. If anything changes, you need to inform us immediately." Jake nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. He knew that the success of this operation could not only ensure his son's safety, but also offer him a chance at redemption. As the team prepared, the tension mounted. Everyone was aware of the risks involved, but the determination to bring Lucas home drove them forward. The FBI director, now in a meeting with Jake's police chief, David Rocha, sat resolutely at the table. His expression conveyed the gravity of the situation. "David, we need to talk about Jake and his situation," the director began, his voice grave and controlled. "I've proposed an alliance. If Jake cooperates and helps us take down Ramon, we can ensure his son Lucas's safety." David looked surprised, but understanding quickly dawned on his face. "This benefits all of us, doesn't it?" the director continued. We'll save the boy and avoid a corruption scandal that could tarnish your department. I agree. We need to prevent this from becoming a bigger problem, David responded, his voice firm. Jake made mistakes, but he can redeem himself. The director nodded, knowing that the police chief's cooperation would be essential. I'm asking for your full commitment to rescuing Lucas and arresting Ramon. We need to plan an operation that's both efficient and swift. Understood. I'll mobilize my team and ensure everyone is ready, David replied, determined. We can't let Jake's past get in the way of his son's safety. We'll do this the right way. With the collaboration set, the team began working tirelessly on the preparations for the operation. Jake, now integrated with the team, felt a mix of anxiety and hope. We're going to rescue Lucas, André said, encouraging everyone around the planning table. We have a chance to do the right thing and take down Ramon's operation once and for all. Nora, reviewing her notes, added, we need to be quick and decisive. If Ramon finds out Jake is helping us, he won't hesitate to use Lucas as leverage. Jake felt a tightness in his chest at the thought of his son. He knew he was on a dangerous path, but the chance to save him was all that mattered. Finally, the day of the operation arrived. The teams were in position, and Jake, with his heart pounding, prepared to make contact with Ramon. Remember, Jake, don't take any risks, Nora warned as they prepared for action. Your priority is Lucas. I'll do whatever it takes to get my son back, Jake replied, determined. With the plan in motion, the FBI team waited anxiously for Jake's signal. He was about to step into a world of betrayal and corruption, but the promise of reuniting with Lucas kept him going. David Rocha looked at Jake, concern written on his face. Jake, I need you to stay with the van team. You're emotionally compromised and shouldn't be directly involved. Your priority should be Lucas's safety, David said firmly. Jake nodded, but a wave of frustration swept over him. He knew he had to do more. As the operation began, he impulsively left the van, hiding himself so he could join Nora and André. The operation was in full swing. The atmosphere was tense and every move counted. As they approached Ramon's hideout, a sudden gunshot echoed. Jake felt a sharp pain in his shoulder. Damn it! Jake shouted, staggering. Nora quickly moved to his side, pulling out a bandage from her kit. Stay still, she ordered, swiftly wrapping his wound. If you try anything stupid, I'll put a bullet in you myself. Jake smiled despite the pain. I'm not trying anything, he replied, his voice strained. I'm sorry for what happened before, André. I should have listened to you. André, ever the professional, just nodded, focusing on what was ahead. As they closed in on the hideout, the tension rose. Ramon, realizing he was surrounded, retreated deeper into the abandoned factory. Only André managed to follow him, while Jake, his shoulder wounded, stayed behind, focusing on not hindering the operation. The darkness of the factory made everything more challenging, and André moved slowly, every step calculated. He knew Ramon was nearby, but he couldn't see him. The silence was broken by Ramon's threatening shout. Come any closer, and I'll hurt the kid, he yelled, making Lucas tremble with fear. André's heart raced at the threat. He couldn't let Ramon harm Lucas. With a swift, stealthy move, André emerged from the shadows, catching Ramon off guard. It's over, Ramon, André shouted as the fight escalated. The factory walls echoed with the sounds of the struggle. Ramon, cornered by André's determination, fought desperately, trying to break free while keeping control of Lucas. The boy, sensing the intensity of the fight, ran to hide, seeking a safe spot amidst the chaos. André and Ramon clashed in a fierce battle, each trying to overpower the other. With punches exchanged and swift moves, André used his agility and training, while Ramon, increasingly frantic, tried to use the advantage of the familiar terrain. I won't let you hurt Lucas, André yelled, channeling all his strength and resolve. At that decisive moment, he managed to pin Ramon to the ground, subduing him. As the fight came to an end, Lucas, still hiding, listened to the sounds of the battle, feeling safe knowing André was there to protect him. It's okay now, kid. You're safe, André called out, his voice strong and reassuring. In a flash, reinforcements arrived, and Lucas was rescued unharmed, while agents made sure Ramon was securely in custody. After the successful operation, Police Chief David Rocha called a meeting. Jake, still shaken, was present. The turnaround in the situation was evident. A corrupt cop who had been consumed by greed had his son saved not by his corruption, but by the determination of André and Nora. The room was thick with tension, but there was a new sense of understanding in the air. Jake looked at David and the other members of the team, feeling the weight of his choices. "I know I made mistakes, but today I learned the true meaning of protection," Jake began, his voice trembling. David, aware of the challenges ahead, responded. "Your redemption starts now, Jake. It's time to show that you can do the right thing. Let's work together to correct the wrongs of the past." Jake's future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. He would have the chance to redeem himself, not just for his own sake, but especially for Lucas. What do you think happened to Jake? Did the department really let it slide without punishing him appropriately? After redeeming himself, did Jake deserve forgiveness and a chance to forget his past, or should he have been punished? Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our next stories. Turn on notifications to stay updated with more amazing content. Your support means everything to us. See you in the next video, already on your screen.